I was reading a book one time, and I probably should know the author, but I totally forgot. And it said that a lot of times we learn about Jesus on a felt board at about the time when we learn and we hear about Santa Claus. And it's fine and it's fun for a while. Jesus shows up and he does stuff, and we get these felt boards and we make all these really interesting scenes happen, and all of a sudden Jesus comes in and saves the day, and it's good for a while, just like Santa Claus. How many times when you were a little kid did you wait in line and dress up, or your parents dressed you up or whatever, and you would wait in line and you would go to some mall somewhere to sit on a stranger's lap, dressed in red velvet with a big old fake beard? That's creepy. But then one day, as we grow up, we start to question Santa Claus. We start to question, is it real? Because it kind of doesn't make sense, this traveling the world thing all in one night and blah, blah, blah. And so eventually we start to ask questions, and our questions lead us to conclude that there's just no way that Santa Claus is real. It just doesn't make sense. Thing is, the same thing is true of Jesus. For some of us, when we were little kids, this Jesus in this scene worked really well. It made perfect sense and we were there. It was fantastic. But eventually, we grow up, we start asking questions. And when we ask those questions, sometimes we don't get the answers. And when that happens, we're just not sure. Is this Jesus even real? So we're starting a new series. It's going to last for the next few weeks. It's called If I Were an Atheist. And it kind of is rooted in this question: if I were an atheist, what would be my questions? Back when I used to live in Loma Linda, there would be this town. It was called Redlands. It was right next to Loma Linda, and every Thursday night they have this thing called Market Night. Now, Market Night, they serve a whole bunch of stuff, and they sell a whole bunch of stuff, and there's music and entertainment. Well, at Market Night, they used to have this thing. I'm not sure if they're still there, but they used to be, and if you live in Southern California, you know what I'm talking about. There used to be this booth at Market Night every Thursday night, and it was the atheist booth, where the atheists would go and they would hang out and they would pass out literature and they'd be open to discussion. Eventually, I started going to the atheist booth, and I would go and start preaching or teaching. I would just go and just listen to them, engage in the conversation, and ask them questions. What do you believe? And why? And of course, it depended on the day and it depended on the person, but at the end of the day, most people that were atheists, they said the reason they didn't believe in God was because they were angry at him. Fair enough. The scriptures are full of people who get angry and upset and emotional with God. But it's hard to be upset and angry with someone that you don't believe exists. So in my experience so far, I have really yet to meet a true atheist. At the end of the day, people that say they're an atheist, they're really simply upset with God, and that's okay. So at the very beginning, part one of this series, I want you to think about, if you were an atheist, maybe you are right now, and my question to you is, what are your questions? What are your arguments against God? Or maybe you're a full-blown believer. You're a Bible-believing, passionate Seventh-day Adventist Christian, and you are just in love with Jesus. At the end of the day, most people still have questions. So for part one, I just want you to think, wherever you are, like right now, today, at some point during the day, what are your questions? If you were an atheist, what would your arguments be against God, religion, the Bible, and church? And I think if we have an honest conversation, an honest dialogue about the questions that we would have, let's take those questions, let's embrace them, let's discuss them, and then together we're going to go on a journey these next few weeks in answering those questions. If I were an atheist.